Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the housing prices and should you buy a home in Germany as an expat. So yeah, I have some sources here, and like the first one we'll look at is the UBS Global Real Estate Bubble Index, which was released now in September 2024, so just a couple months ago. And their key results here is actually interesting because I think the 2023 version had Munich quite high up the bubble index. I think it was actually at risk. But I think since the home prices have been dropping in the last year or so, this might have also decreased it. So yeah, essentially you can see here that Munich is actually, it's not like at risk, but it is moderate still, and it's been decreasing in the past year or so. That's at least for me what I'm looking at. You can also see Frankfurt here. Similar, it's decreasing, but it's still high. So this is quite a good read, but does it mean that homes are affordable at the current stage? And no, I don't think it is. Not at least according to your salary, right? And I think there's quite a good part of the article here that we'll quickly look at. So this graphic shows quite a good depiction of that. It says here the number of years a skilled service worker needs to work to be able to buy a 60 square meter flat near the city center. You can see Munich is up here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Munich is quite high. Right now the average is probably close to 8 years or something, if I'm reading this correctly. And the value in 2014 was still quite high, probably 7 years or something like that. The upper end, obviously, this is an average, so the range can vary depending on where you buy, but it can go up to 10 years. And this is according to like a skilled service worker salary. So of course, if you're more like in a higher position in the company in certain sectors, then this might be easier, but for the average person it's not. Another nice little graphic that they have here is the number of years a flat of the same size needs to be rented out to pay for the flat. So how many years are you essentially renting to justify purchasing a place? So in Munich, this right now on average is 40 years. So if you rent for 40 years, then you've essentially bought the apartment or the house, whatever you're renting. It used to be just over 35 years in 2014, so 10 years ago. So it's definitely increased in terms of, like the price of the home versus the rent that you're paying for a home or an apartment. So this graphic essentially depicts that rent right now is a lot cheaper than buying. That's basically what it's saying. There's another source here. This got released 2 years ago, well, almost 2 years ago, I think. And it's it basically talks about like housing affordability in Germany, so as a whole. And I mean, here the one-line sentence says, leading indicators reveal that over the past 2 decades, renting a home in Germany has been more attractive and more affordable option than owning one. So, I mean, that basically says what this whole article is about. But, I mean, we can take a look and we can see that the house price inflation in Germany is this blue line here. The average earnings is this dotted line, and the consumer price inflation is this purple dotted line down there. And obviously this is across Germany, so this is not just like major cities, but averaged across all cities. So I mean, yeah, German households are spending a greater share of their disposable income on housing. In 2021, the average household, owner-occupied and tenanted, spend 23% of their net disposable income on housing. Don't be fooled by this percentage, because essentially in Germany there's Kaltmiete and Warmmiete. So cold rent is just basically the base rent that you pay to the landlord, and then warm rent is the heating and utilities on top. So the landlord doesn't get this the extra bit that you pay, but the extra bit can be like 250 euros extra. So think of, if your rent is 1,100 Kaltmiete or cold rent, then you'll probably pay roughly 1,400, roughly. It kind of depends. But yeah, so yeah, anyway, so this is up 8.4% more than 2020, which is quite a steep jump considering just like 1 year, 2 years. Homes occupied by a single person spend a disproportionately higher share, which is 31.8%. Again, this is without utilities. While an average couple with no children spend much less. Of course, I mean, you have two incomes, so you can sort of you have more disposable income just in general. Okay, so affordability is deteriorating. So the house price to earnings multiple provides a high level snapshot of relative affordability. A recent analysis comparing the annual earnings multiple required to purchase a new 70 square meter apartment shows that in 2022, an average German home buyer in full-time employment would need 6.5 times their yearly salary to fund a home purchase. This is pretty much what we saw in this graphic here, up here. So I mean, like around 7 years or so. Where is it? Yeah, 7 years here of your salary. So in 2021, the multiple was 6 times earnings. So the increase has been 8% basically. For the same, the same space that you're occupying. So the ability of buyers to accumulate deposit savings at a fast enough rate has long been a factor delaying home ownership, definitely. I mean, if you have less spare change at the end of the month, then you can save less. So, I mean, here it also says, well, this divergence between house price and income is one factor dampening realized demand. The current rise in borrowing costs is also significant. Yeah, so, I mean, this is also saying the exact same thing as what everyone is saying. Essentially, home prices increased exponentially, or not exponentially, but significantly. And wages did not increase. And because home prices appreciated so much, and you had interest rates hiked so high, I mean, like it's been it's been the highest it's ever since, like, I don't know, 2014 or even before. So like in the last 10 years, essentially, and wages haven't increased with that. So wages are need to catch up before it can become affordable, I guess you could say. Let's first see this stat here. So I mean, for years, home buyers could access cheap credit with mortgage rates as low as 1.5%. as inflation soared in 2022, interest rates more than doubled, leading to worsening house affordability, a decline in consumer sentiment, and a correction in house prices. So, I mean, this correction has been happening recently, in even in Munich, which is like a very expensive area, and the price of homes are right now declining actually, but it's still not like enough. I mean, here it says house prices in Germany declined in 2022 and have since been on a downward trend. In the second quarter of 2023, the house price index plummeted by about 16 percentage points, from the peak of 166 index points in the same quarter in 2022. This has been the first serious price correction in more than 10 years. So, yeah, so we'll basically see what happens in the next coming years. But as it stands at this point in time, it's still not affordable. I believe something like, if you check on there are some calculators that you can use to, see what is your affordability. But essentially, the bank right now, as far as I know, will give you 100 times your net salary as a loan. So whatever you're making net, 100 times that. Okay. So in Germany, the average salary is around 3,600 euros. It's around about there. That's the average. So net. So meaning, like, just for context, you would take 100 times that, and that's your loan amount. So a house of around 360,000, let's say, that's what you can afford without the transfer costs, without property tax, whatever added. And so, like, in that scenario, you would still have to have a savings of like 20,000 euros or something. I think it's like 8% usually of the purchasing price. So I mean, maybe even more. So let's say 25,000 euros in this case. That's what you need like on hand before you even take out a loan of 100%. And then once you have taken out the loan, you'd have to find a property that is 300. So let's do Munich, yeah. And we say we want to buy, apartment, and we say we want to limit to 360,000. Let's just put 300. Yeah. So what can you buy for that amount? Let's see. So you'd be able to buy something like this, 58 square meters, 315,000 euros. No, they didn't have more photos. Well, okay, 45 euro square meters. I mean, and as you can see, like, it's kind of basic. It's not too bad, but I mean, for 320, you have to get something for 320,000 euros. It's quite a lot of money. Here's another one. I mean, this is like, what is this? This is such a weird apartment. Another one, 26 square meters. This one's actually quite big, considering. Let's see how it looks. Okay, not too bad. And fridges, like, I would just not have that. It's okay, I guess. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. Basic bathrooms. Okay. So, I mean, this was, let's quickly see. So, I mean, the building was built in 1961. It's quite old. The energy efficiency class is a D. So you will pay more on energy. And you might have to do some renovation or repairs or something. So where is this located? It's kind of, it's not in the city center, it's kind of like a little bit outside of it. It's not too bad, like the commute between here is probably like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something, I guess. Maybe not 15, but yeah, like maybe let's say 20 on average, because it probably depends on the lines, the public transport lines. Okay, so I also found this little article about internal migration in Germany from 1991 to 2022. It talks about annually about 4 million people have move across administrative borders within Germany. What are the global trends of internal migration and how have they changed over time? So they're kind of talking about the how people have been moving. So there's just one example of Baden-Württemberg. And don't want to see that. Yeah, here. I want to see this. So let's open that. So here it shows you have the natural and migration gains of people within Germany moving, and then migration meaning like people moving from outside, as far as I know from the article. I think it's like that internal. Yeah. We can also just check quick up here. Yeah, international between, okay. Yeah, I don't think they actually say general trends. Maybe they say under the graphic. Let's see. That's annoying. Internal migration is both influencing and influenced by international migration, so natural population development and the age structure of Germany's population. To highlight these linkages, we combine the different drivers of population development in Figure 8 for the period of 2019 to 2021. Okay. There are 6 possible combinations. Germany's long history, okay, blah, blah, blah. So they're saying here, as a result, Germany's long history of birth rates below replacement level and population aging, there are only a few districts whose population is growing due to both a positive neutral balance and a surplus of immigrants, type 1. Okay, so they're basically saying people who are being born and people who are migrating to, so the positive natural population balance in most of these regions result from selective in-migrations of young adults, and then the influx of younger people reduces the death rate. At the same time, the share of potential parents in the population rises, which increases the number of births. Okay, so they're basically saying people who are migrating to this area, this is type 1. So people who are born and migrating is increasing. And as you can see, like Munich is there, Frankfurt is supposed to be there, Berlin, Hamburg. So I mean, all the major cities basically are getting like net inflow. And you can also see like mostly the western part of Germany is getting net inflow of both, like, you know, people being born and people who are migrating. The only places who aren't getting people migrating, but only people being born is like here. So these small areas. And then you have the worst of the worst, which is like people not being born and people just leaving, which is these areas here. Yeah, these small patches. But yeah, I mean, this was interesting to me since this kind of showed why properties will be so inflated right now, because so many people migrated to the major cities and also into Western Germany in the whole. Like, I mean, even Berlin, I mean, look at how many people are in Berlin, that's been migrating to Berlin. So yeah, I found that quite interesting. So, can you afford a house as an expat? Well, there are lots of requirements for expats. Like, I mean, you can buy a house without having any sort of permanent residency or citizenship, but it becomes more difficult if you don't have permanent residency. So you would need to first get permanent residency to secure like a better loan from the bank, and then also the prices of things, like the appreciation that houses or apartments right now have gone through is just way too high, and it'll probably take a couple years for the prices to slowly come down and for wages to start increasing. And I don't think prices will drop that far. Like, I think it will probably stay the same as where it is here. This report, I think, says this. Although housing prices have declined slightly on average in the cities analyzed, and income growth has been relatively robust in recent quarters, affordability has remained stretched in many locations. Buying a 60 square meter apartment exceeds the budget of those earning the average annual income in the skilled service sector. Okay, blah blah blah. Price to rent. Yeah, it's, I mean, cheaper to rent right now. And I'm not sure where they say this, but I think they said here in this article that the momentum in the housing market is set to improve. Rising rents underpin demand for home ownership in urban areas. Falling interest rates will shift the user cost advantage sharply back to from renting to buying. First-time home buyers would return to the market as affordability improves. In our view, real house prices in many cities have bottomed out. So basically they're saying it's already bottomed out from their perspective. So whatever the price is right now in like Munich, it's going to stay the same. That's basically what they're on about. Okay, so I probably wouldn't buy a house right now. And I guess like you could try Eastern Germany, which is a lot more affordable, but then you are also more at risk of like your job, basically, like where you're earning. If you can work remotely from there, then fine. But yeah, I mean, there are lots of things to consider, I think, before even attempting to buy something right now. So yeah, anyway, I hope this helped you. And thanks for watching.